5 serial killers that were never caught and might just be coming after you. Dear Editor, I am the killer of the 2 teenagers last Christmas at Lake Herman. Was the beginning of a letter received by 3 major newspapers in San Francisco on August 1st, 1969. His letters taunted the police and press in Northern California for 6 years. Each contained riddles and 1/3 of a 408-symbol cryptograph in which the killer claimed hid his identity. He demanded that each of his letters feature on the front page of each newspaper, otherwise he would kill more. Donald and Betty Hardin cracked his cipher on August 8, 1969, in which he claimed that the victims would be his slaves in the afterlife. Even though he had promised that the cipher would reveal his identity, he ultimately refused, leaving his identity unknown to this day. If your initials are the same, I'd suggest you beware. In the early 1970s, 3 young girls from Rochester, New York were murdered. Each of the girls' first and last names began with the same letter. Carmen Colon, Wanda Welkowicz, and Michelle Mainzer were found dead in nearby towns. These towns shared the same letter: Churchville, Webster, and Macedon. The killer therefore became known as the Alphabet Murderer. In 2011, Joseph Naso, a New York native who lived in Rochester in the 1970s, was arrested for 6 murders. 4 victims, like the 3 girls, also had double initials: Roxanne Rockjack, Pamela Parsons, Tracy Tafoya, and believe it or not, Carmen Colon. Naso is considered a person of interest in their cases, but as his DNA was not found to match the original samples from those first victims, no one has been charged. The Long Island serial killer, also known as the Craigslist Ripper, is believed to have killed between 10 and 17 people. The first bodies were found in 2010 and were linked back to escort ads placed on Craigslist. Other victims were found in 2011 in the same area. With no leads, Suffolk County Police issued a reward of $25,000 for any information leading to an arrest. Police believe the killer may be a white male in his mid-20s to 40s who is most likely a resident of Long Island and has access to burlap sacks which he uses to contain the bodies in. Some believe serial killer Joel Rifkin is to blame, as he also operated in Long Island, targeting drug-addicted prostitutes. He denies all claims, and no one has been charged for the Long Island murders. The Phantom Killer case is also referred to as the Texarkana Moonlight Murders, where in the spring of 1946, 4 couples were viciously attacked and shot. Most of the attack happened in a secluded Lover's Lane area in Texarkana, Texas. The attack spanned 4 months. Residents lived in permanent fear, becoming known as the town that feared sundown. After the 4th attack occurred in the victim's home, people believed the killer was getting more bold. As a different gun was used in the 4th attack, however, police believe it was not linked to the previous attacks. Just as fast as the killings began, they stopped. The Phantom Killer retreated back into the shadows. No one has ever been caught. With the killer covering all tracks left behind, not even a shred of evidence was found. Some believe that the Zodiac Killer could have committed the murders. However, since 20 years separate the two, most dismiss this theory. What good would this be if we didn't include the Whitechapel murderer, otherwise known as the Leather Apron? Who am I talking about, you ask? The one and only Jack the Ripper, of course. Jack the Ripper was a serial killer who stalked the streets of the Whitechapel district of London in 1988. It is estimated that he killed at least 5 women and mutilated their bodies. As he removed internal organs from some of the victims, Many suggest that he must have had some surgical knowledge. Letters from the killer started flooding into media outlets in a menacing red ink. One, known as the Hell Letter, was sent along with half of a human kidney. Jack the Ripper was never identified and remains one of the world's most infamous criminals. There are over 100 theories about the killer's identity. Who do you think did it? So there you have it, 5 serial killers that were never caught. Even though Jack is long dead by now, make sure you don't stumble onto the path of the others. Tell me below who you think the killers are. Stay tuned for next time, Fact Mates.